Oh, yes, everybody. This is the Flex Network joining you again for our Sunday morning start sit show here. Joining us live very soon, one Byron Lambert from at RosterWatch. Follow them at RosterWatch. Go get a pro membership at RosterWatch.com. Nation members, flood the chat with questions and everything that you have to go on and dominate your week 11. Joined as always by one at Sealy_Shane. What's going on, brother?
What is up? I'm excited for week 11, man.
Excited for week 11 as we all are. Again with us, one at Sezlowski. Call him ALANSES, Low Sky, season long says, what's going on, brother?
Are you really excited for week 11? I mean, most of your teams are probably out of it. It's just a couple
my
other
teams are in it. They're deep.
A couple other teams are hanging on by a thread. You probably have a lot of false hope. I'm not excited because you know what? After week 11, it's going to be a disaster. But I am excited to give the people advice. This way they can blame us when it goes wrong. I am excited about that.
Why do you always have to be the damn wet blanket every single show?
Well, why do we even keep you around here? You just bring negativity to
or am I just being a realist? You know what I'm saying? I'm being a realist. Fantasy football is a game of failure. I mean, at the end of the season, only one person's happy. The chances are you're going to lose your league.
Yes, it's getting deep. And says, I definitely understand what you're saying, but I am a team with a 3-7 record, 3-7 on one of my teams. It was a dynasty team. So, I mean, it's not like I had much control over the draft or anything like that. I mean, I did, but you only have so many guys you can go after, but 3-7 looking ahead to the next 3 weeks. If I get a win the next 3 weeks, says I am going to the playoffs. And as well as I know, in the playoffs, just like in real football, everybody has a chance.
Yeah. Once you get in the playoffs, you're alive. All you have to do, it's a lot of, variance luck in the playoffs. I agree with that.
Yeah, so everybody grab your morning coffees, get your questions in as Byron Lambert will be joining us. I do have me a cool cup of the Java bean with some eggnog. It's that time of season, everybody. Got an eggnog latte. Chuck Olson, good morning. Good morning, please. Byron is coming on soon. Please get your questions ready. And says, Shane, I want everybody here to ask Byron a question from their own teams as well. I've got a couple of them locked and loaded. Got to ask the Master Swami about them. But Shane, let's go to a couple of questions from the RosterWatch message boards, if you will. Every morning, guys, if you, I don't even know that you have to be a member of the nation to comment on the message boards. Do you? I forget.
I don't think so. I think it's just from their main page is typically where all the questions come in. But here's one that I've been going through. It's more of like a general question over like what's that Mendoza line for where you're starting Miles Sanders in that league. So I one I've seen a few times is Miles Sanders against Sony Michel in that afternoon game.
I just laugh every time Shane says it.
Against.
What? Against?
Yes.
Oh God, I don't even know what I say.
Nice. I'm only laughing because of Matt's impression of you saying it.
Against.
I almost feel like I almost feel like you're goofing on yourself a little bit, but then I realize that's actually how it's being said.
We have Beyblade Bros here wanting to know what we make of the Rob Gronkowski presser today. Says Lowski, you got anything on Rob Gronkowski's presser?
Yeah, I mean, for fantasy, it's not. Don't pick them up. It's
not for this year. Not for this year.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about like the next few weeks. He's not going to help your fantasy team anytime this year. What was the main crux of the presser? Like, what message did you guys get out of that? Like, what was the takeaway?
Well, no. He said 15 minutes or no. NFL at NFL_Dove Kleinman says Rob Gronkowski has a big announcement to make. He can't wait to drop it on all of us.
So he hasn't made it yet. Okay.
Yeah, Tuesday at 9 a.m. Gronkowski must let the Patriots know that he wants to make a return by November 30th. Says,
well, let's say he comes back. Let's say the announcement is, we're all assuming that he's coming back. Okay, what would you like? You're picking him up. I mean, he wasn't good last year.
Of course, of course, yes. Tight end 1 the rest of the season. Says, what do you think?
I think so. I disagree. Completely disagree.
I mean, sure.
Here's why.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's why. Last year, when Gronk was part of the offense, he was predominantly used as a blocker. He's lost apparently 20 or 25 pounds since the offseason. And Al, what is happening over there?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just playing around with my camera settings. Am I distracting you?
The ghost of Alan Seslowski over here.
This is good, right?
Like,
this is good.
This is a guy who, I mean, he could obviously just step into this offense and make it he could be part of the game plan immediately. The question is, how effective is he going to be? I worry about that a lot. I personally wouldn't roll with it. Like, at that point, it's your fantasy playoffs, right? Are you really going to roll with Rob Gronkowski, who hasn't played all season, in your fantasy playoffs? I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but who are you rolling him out over? I mean, realistically, the tight end wasteland is, I mean, I got Darren Fells in most of my leagues, and that's just because one at Alan Seslowski keeps telling us that the guy's going to bang out monster games, and he does.
I mean,
okay.
You know what it is? This is what it is with Darren Fells. You have to think of him like a goal line back. You know, like when you play a goal line back, you know, I'm trying to think who, like the Marion Barber types from a couple of years ago. You don't go in there, you know, expecting a ton of yards, a ton of catches. You just, you know, you're going to get 7 or 8 carries, and the tight end equivalency of that is about 2 or 3 targets, and you have about a 50% chance every week of scoring a touchdown, and that's what you hope for. It's the very rare case of not following targets and yards with tight end. It's just Deshaun Watson. They get into the inside the 10-yard line, and he looks for his big 6'7" former basketball player tight end. And you know, I mean, you have a decent chance every week of getting a touchdown. That's what you hope for with Fells.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you this one.
I just wanna say, Eric Arroyo, Ewalps, what's going on? Yo, Mama, so fat one. He's got a good feeling about this week. Thank you, Darren, Elias, Javarius. We're gonna get to you guys, okay? Jennifer, good morning. Trimmel, everybody. We will get to you guys here soon. We like to kind of wait a little bit for Byron to hop on here, and then we can rattle through these unless Byron's a little fashionably late as last time. Go ahead, Shane.
Yeah, no. So, Al, I've got this question in one of my leagues. So I have Austin Hooper. He's obviously injured. I had Fells as my backup, and then I made the decision kind of last minute to switch to Ryan Griffin with the Jets, just thinking that from a touchdown perspective, I kind of like Griffin's chances a little bit better, even though actually Vegas disagrees with me very slightly. According to the Vegas tool, and I was looking at that before, of course, as I'm drawing time here.
Also, the 17th best matchup for opposing tight ends this week is Griffin, the Jets. Yeah,
exactly. So he's plus 300 to score. Ryan Griffin is versus Darren Fells, who's plus 250.
Oh,
essentially, it's the same, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're both underdogs to score.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but I love these comments. I love these questions, guys. Let's just put up Javarius Fields' question first. Do I really want to play Brian Hill over Eckler?
Oh, God.
Says I would like a good. That's a nice start to the day. Do we have a Brian Hill over an Eckler this week in week 11? Must win weeks here. Says, what do you think? Could you roll out Brian Hill in a must win week with the 4th best matchup? The player prop on RosterWatch's DFS flex values, according to his DK value, is a 2.71. Over under rushing and receiving at 80 yards and a plus 100 to score. Says, what do you think about Brian Hill over an Eckler today? Do you like it or do you hate it?
It's a perfectly reasonable play. I mean, Brian Hill is projected for what you would probably say 15 carries and 2 or 3 targets. I mean, I don't think you can project Eckler for that workload right now. Melvin Gordon is back, looking like not just back, but looking like first-round draft pick Melvin Gordon again. Mm-hmm. I think the touch distribution for Melvin Gordon and Eckler is, it's at very minimum a 60-40 now going to Melvin Gordon. So Hill, though an unknown commodity, we liked what we saw of him. He's got 3-down skill set. I think that it's a great question, but I would go Hill.
You would go Hill. Shane, what do you think? Brian Hill. Are we going to get swindled with a Brian Hill chalk play this week?
Look, I mean, this week, who are they playing? I had it right in front of me. Sorry, guys. Here.
Which one? Brian Hill's playing
Hill.
Carolina.
Carolina, right?
Best matchup. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's a decent matchup. I worry about that, man. Like Brian Hill, at this point, it's a third stringer. Like, yes, there are some people who are saying that Brian Hill's actually better than Devonta Freeman, but I mean, what's Brian Hill likely going to get you? Like 10, 11 points? I think that Austin Eckler is more of a foundation in that offense, and going up against Kansas City on the Monday night game in Mexico City, I mean, that could be a high-scoring affair. And, if it's a PPR league, I think that Austin Eckler could be good for five receptions for 50, 60 yards, probably get 10 touches in the backfield, and then he's good for a touchdown, I think. If it's my team, I'm probably going to roll with Eckler just because I know what we're going to get out of Eckler. Whereas with Brian Hill, it's like, okay, yes, there's a lot of opportunity here, but Devonta Freeman hasn't exactly blown up this season, right? So why do we think this third-string running back that – the Falcons see him every single week? If he was better than Devonta Freeman, he would already be the starter as far as I'm concerned. So I would still roll with Eckler.
Yeah, and that's what I said. Guys, go give us a follow at the Flex Network 1. We do our Friday night Flex Finder podcast. It's tough to watch it live, but we put it out there on our Twitter all the way until Sunday morning when we rock this. But that's essentially what I said on Friday night. I mean, if he was good enough to usurp Ito Smith and Devonta Freeman, then why wouldn't he have? Eckler in an over-under game, which, depicts to be a shootout here this week against Kansas City, the highest over-under. If Kansas City gets out ahead, because, it's every week that could happen, you're going to see a lot of Eckler. You're going to see a ton of Eckler. I would go Eckler this week, guys. We're going to go ahead.
It's close, though, right? Like, it's close.
Yes, let's start. Let's go ahead and start some of this here. Eric Royo, what's up, fools?
That's my guy from my league, man.
Yes. This is Wink. He said he's in Allen's league. He likes to send out dick pics.
Well, that is true, by the way. That is true.
Yes, what a flex. That's a huge flex. Yes, he's got Brandon Cooks out. Needs to replace him with either Keenan Reynolds or Mecole Hardman. Also, is Slayton for real rest of season? Says, I'm going to go ahead and say no swindles to the guy playing or in your league here.
No, he's good,
but I like Mecole Hardman. I mean, even Mecole Hardman got dropped in a league we all play in, and I was like, oh, wow. I clicked it right away because you just never know. Tyreek Hill, I mean, he landed on his shoulder last week, and he was not looking good. Came back in the game, sure, but I mean, the second he's out, he proved that he can play in that offense. I like Mecole Hardman, but is Slayton for real? That's a better question, Seth. Let's go ahead and take it here.
Yeah, well, just first, Eric's team name is Stomp Him in the Nuts, and he does send out a picture of someone getting stomped in the nuts every time he beats them. That is true. So let's start. Let's start with that.
I love that.
Oh yeah, no, he's the league shit talker, as you know. So
yes, that is also me in every league that I am.
Yeah. No, this guy rivals you, so he would be, I would say, at the same level as you're talking.
Yes.
So that said, you asked about Slayton. Yeah, no, the Giants found a gem in the 5th round. It does happen every once in a while, a 5th round wide receiver, or with running back it happens all the time, but with receiver it's a little bit more rare. And he just looks the part. People are in the dynasty. He's not a surprise to anyone in the dynasty community. He was certainly a dynasty thing in the preseason. So, here we go. But yeah, he's for real.
Byron?
Hey, Byron.
Byron, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm well. How are you guys doing?
Oh, fine with our great cup of the Java. Let's get this rolling here.
We were just talking a little Darius Slayton. Somebody asked us, is he a long-term real player? We all,
he is. Yeah. Shit, I picked him. I'm in second place in one of my longtime home leagues where I've got a really stout team, but wide receiver starting to all of a sudden look a little thin here down the stretch, maybe a little unexpectedly. So, Slayton's a guy I picked up last week. I said, I'm going to hold him through the bye. I don't know if I can count on him or not, but he's a good stash, I'd say.
He was certainly he was certainly a dynasty thing. The dynasty community knew about him a little bit over the summer, but yeah, no, we all agreed that he was for real.
Trash Man loved him and coming out as a prospect. So I got to give him kudos on that. And I've loved what I've seen in the NFL so far out of Slate. And so that 14 targets was a monster, man. We'll have to see what happens. I got a hard stop in no more than 30 minutes. So let's fire through here.
Let's fire through here. So
Butterfinger, Matt.
Wink. Oh, okay. Yeah. Butterfinger here. So standard league, Jack, Doyle, or Dwelly this week, Byron?
I'll probably play Doyle, I think, right? I mean, I don't know. I know that's a tough one. You guys going to play Dwelly? It's the number one matchup. I played Doyle, I think. I mean, Ebron has a big prop. I don't know. I mean, how did Dwelly do last week? What was his snap count?
He had about 90, I think it was 90% snaps, but he had 7 targets. He only caught 3 of them, but it was 7 targets.
Yes, last week, Ross Dwelly, 7 targets, 3 catches, 24 yards on 91% snap
Yeah, then
count.
You know what? Then let's play Dwelly.
Okay,
let's get standard.
Dwelly.
Like you're banking for the touchdown. He's probably got a better bet right against.
Yeah, let's just play Dwelly.
I agree.
As Alex said on Saturday night Sirius XM show, the tight end play against Arizona has only stubbed you 1 time this year with the Tyler Eifert swindle. Go ahead with Dwelly. We got Wink in here going up against Seslowski. Wants to know rest of season. Does he go Keenan Reynolds or Mecole Hardman with Brandon Cooks out?
Oh, probably Reynolds or Hard. So the question is Reynolds or Hardman.
Yeah, just because Brandon Cooks is out. Plus, this may not be a good concession, but he's in Alan Seslowski's league. He's looking to pummel Seslowski here.
The biggest shit talker in the league, too, Byron.
I like Hardman. Is it hard to play? I mean, I don't. It's Reynolds is a tough call there. I mean, you feel like it's really thin. You're just waiting on nothing. But I probably feel a little safer with Reynolds than Hardman in my lineup. Close call.
There you go. Ewalp says, good morning, everybody. Beyblade Bros. We'll get Byron's take here. Do we have a Rob Gronkowski tight end 1 coming up here? He wants to announce at his press conference. He's got something big for us on Tuesday. Have you heard anything about that, Byron? I
haven't, man. I mean, I suppose you could. I would, maybe something like that will come up. You could look if you got an empty spot, you're free to stash a guy. We all need an injection of life down the stretch in our playoffs. So I guess you could, at a thin position, you could stash Gronk for a week or 2 and see what happens. I've got Antonio Brown stashed still in one league.
Healthy.
I was probably not going to be much longer, but
holding out hope. At
this point, I've just held him, so it just depends.
Yeah, well, that's a quick drop for a Rob Gronkowski Tuesday afternoon, Byron. PPR, Allen, A-Rob or Woods this week, Byron.
I hate Allen Robinson against Jalen Ramsey, so I'm going to play Robert Woods.
Yes, just found out that Kenyon Drake is starting over David Johnson. Does he start him, Elias?
If you have to. Depends on your other option, but I don't love Drake. But if you have to,
right against San Fran, right?
Yeah, I mean he had a monster against San Fran a couple of weeks ago. I'm not banking on that again, but if I'm down to Deebo Samuel versus Kenyon Drake, I mean that's maybe the territory that we're in there, something like that. I mean, if I'm looking at a wide receiver 4 that I'm not sold on, maybe that's when I think about sliding Kenyon Drake into my flex.
Now we had this question before you had got on here, and we had a pretty nice discussion about it. But would you play a Brian Hill this week over an Eckler? High over under game in Kansas City, you would?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I don't know as tough as I hate Eckler this week, but I just think that
it's just that Melvin Gordon is looking like first round Melvin Gordon again. So it's hard to. Would Hill projected to get 15 touches, a couple catches? How can you go away from that?
Look, if you're stuck with Austin Eckler and you weren't able to move him before this thing totally devolved, it's a reasonable spot to slide Eckler back into your lineup this week. But there's just, we just have so much clearer picture for Brian Hill. That's all we can do is make the best decision, with the information that we have at hand, and with the most information that we have available to us, the best information we have available to us, and that's that Brian Hill is a clear-cut starter in a juicy matchup and a high game total.
Yes.
Like
Butterfinger 87 coming back to us with the standard league. Needs to Marvin Jones, Sammy Watkins, or McKissick.
Well, Watkins for sure, right?
Yep.
I mean, how do you start McKissick? I think you just go Watkins and Marvin Jones. I mean,
Smart play.
right? I mean,
You're totally anti-McKissick because, well, I mean, like, you don't think he can have like a Chris Thompson.
I'm not anti-McKissick.
Well, I meant like in context dependent, you like of this.
Am I starting in McKissick over Marvin Jones? It just feels hard to do.
Right.
Feels hard to do, but last week McKissick out-targeted Marvin Jones and clearly out-touched Marvin Jones. But obviously Marvin Jones, 92% snap share, McKissick only 70% snap share.
What's our latest news on Ty Johnson?
He cleared concussion protocol, right, Shane?
Yeah, he's playing. He's going to play.
Yeah. He's back in. So I know that hurts McKissick even more.
I mean, those are both bad plays, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. The first thing I do is go to my wire and see what other options might exist. But, like I might play somebody like an Auden Tate or something over both of those guys. But to me, I'm probably just, if I'm not sure, I'm going to roll my guy, put Marvin Jones in there and just live with the way it shakes out.
Yeah, we got B. Ollie. Good morning, B. Ollie. Thank you. A nation member needs one for the win. Our first Foles question. Well, maybe since on the year here, Foles, Kyle Allen, or Kirk Cousins.
Probably got to go with the Kyle Allen indicators this week.
Kyle Allen in our second best matchup on the week here at the RosterWatch matchup tool. Get a RosterWatch Pro membership. It is the least expensive pro industry content in the entire industry. Jennifer, good morning. Thank you, Jennifer. She has followed us. What a great lady of RosterWatch Nation here. Trimmel Hawkins, good morning, fellas. Had to change my team name this week to Bad News Bears. Injuries hit hard this week. Connor, Hooper, and all my receivers on bye week. I'm 6-4 and had to waiver my receivers. Trimmel took Beasley, and he needs one more. Kendrick Bourne or Chris Conley off the wire.
I'd probably play Conley.
Yeah. Kendrick Bourne, looked good last week, Byron.
He didn't look good. He got some.
Come on.
He looked good. Alive. He looked like he had a pulse.
Exactly.
He looked like he was.
We're going to go Chris Conley there. Christian Kirk or Tyler Boyd here by Chuck Olson. The nation rocks. Double X.
Oh, boy. I know the Vegas prop is good on Tyler Boyd this week. I'm curious to see. Y'all don't have that up, do you? I'm curious.
Yeah. Tyler Boyd.
The absolute? I don't know. Is there one on Kirk? What's the total projected points for Boyd? I know versus pricing, Vegas likes him.
Boyd is 4.5 receptions for 60 yards and plus 185. So projected scoring is 12.66 in PPR.
Nothing for Kirk out there, but Larry Fitzgerald has a prop for 9.
I see Kirk. Yeah.
Oh,
Kirk's
he is
here.
there?
Yeah. 4.5 for 55 yards with the plus 200. So Vegas likes Tyler Boyd better than Christian Kirk this week.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think this was a good time to try to sell high on Christian Kirk this last week if you could, too.
Ooh, just a pre-game swindle trade here. Christian Kirk, yes. Teddy Vandermolen, Galladay. A lot of talk about Galladay today. Is Galladay in or is Baby Chark in?
I'd play the Baby Chark, man.
Non-PPR, does that sway anyway or?
No.
I don't think so either.
Foles in that one half that he played, he did find Chark for a couple deep ones.
I mean, we don't know, but we know DJ Chark is a good player, and I think Nick Foles is. Well, he could be rusty coming back, but generally speaking, he should be an upgrade for that offense over
Nick
Minshew. So, and I mean, how do you hitch your wagon to a Jeff Driscoll? It just feels difficult to do.
And Byron Jones is so good.
Yeah.
And Byron,
I wouldn't mess around with that, man.
Byron, you said something about Driscoll. Should I have the nerve to play him? Because I'm trying to squeeze Michael Thomas and CMC into my DraftKings lineup today. Can I have any faith in Driscoll? I mean, he did it last week from fantasy. I mean, what's my degree of confidence here in Driscoll producing 20 fantasy points?
I just think there comes a point where you put too many lineups together, they get too thin, and it's too hard to sort out, man. Yeah. I just feel like those are the lineups that end up on the fringe, and maybe it could be a winner for you, but it's
likely not.
It doesn't really feel feasible, you know.
I
just think Kyle Allen is a pretty good cheap quarterback option on DraftKings this week. So
I feel like
Yo Mama So Fat One needs one. Ronald Jones, Brian Hill, or Robert Woods, non-PPR. He's got the better matchup, but does he trust Hill here? Also has the opportunity to flex Mark Andrews. Byron.
Need to pick one, Ronald Jones. So I would play Brian Hill.
Okay, well, that's just it. He just needs one. So Brian Hill gets the trust in the flex over Ronald Jones, Robert Woods, and Mark Andrews.
I think so.
Byron, why was Ronald Jones benched in the fourth quarter? Was there something that happened? I missed that.
Well,
I know
he fumbled, and his
that's why.
Yards per carry were abysmal. I mean, the last thing I want to hear is Bruce Arians hyping the receiving skills of my newly minted fantasy running back that fumbled and was less productive on the ground than Peyton Barber. I mean, to me, that's one of those things that's just like, it sounds good on the surface, but you just think to yourself, wait a second. Why the hell is Bruce Arians talking about Ronald Jones catching the ball? He was terrible on the ground. You know what I mean? So
they're virtually a lock to take one of those 2020 runners, right?
I think so. And I just don't, it's not a good matchup against the Saints either. So just Ronald Jones is a thin play to me. I mean, we got a lot more positive indications for Brian Hill this week.
Yes, Byron. Now, we had talked again before you had hopped on. Where is the Mendoza line for a Miles Sanders play as your either RB1 or RB2 on the week? Do we got a Sony Michel in that game, or do we have Miles Sanders?
I mean, I would play Miles Sanders over Sony Michel.
Okay.
Especially in any kind of PPR format.
Miles Sanders or Brian Hill?
Also,
I might play Brian Hill.
Okay, so that's going to be probably right in the line there. RB 15, 16 on the ranks here. Miles Sanders or Devin Singletary?
I'm going to stick with Devin Singletary in that one. I was surprised his prop came in a little lower than I might have expected, but to me, I'm more comfortable with Devin Singletary.
That's right in the pack there, RB 15. So that's I mean, with some upside, right? So I mean, that's a nice play.
If you heard Devin Singletary had a monster, you wouldn't be surprised. I'd be a little bit surprised to find out Miles Sanders had an absolute monster against the Patriots. PPR, the receptions could add up for sure, though.
I just get visions. Remember that CJ Procise game, with Seattle, 3-4 years ago. That's the kind of player that Miles Sanders.
That's a great comp.
Electric. It just makes me think of him, right? Because of what he can do in the backfield, and I feel like they're just going to try to stop Carson Wentz, which means they're going to give the ball to Miles Sanders. He's improving in his blocking, which means they trust him on the field in all situations. I like Miles Sanders a lot this week.
Yeah, you don't worry about any vulturing on the Jay Ajayi.
I do.
There's always vultures.
I worry about that too.
I do worry about Doug Peterson screwing you right out of the gate. Telling you to bend over, grab your ankles. Man.
Yeah, exactly. We actually have a Miles Sanders question here.
I'll say, but Doug, can we at least have a damn jar of Vaseline? He'll say, hell no.
Dry.
Here's a boatload of Jay Ajayi and Boston Scott for your ass.
Yeah. Chris Strauss here, Standard League, John Brown, Curtis Samuel, or Miles Sanders. Let's start there with this question. Standard, John Brown, Curtis Samuel, Miles Sanders.
Jesus, man.
Well,
probably Sanders. I don't know, man. I like Curtis Samuel. I mean, those are three good options. Probably for me, John Brown comes in third place in that deal, even though I like him this week. So then it's between Curtis Samuel, potentially Kyle Allen's, somewhere between his second and fourth target on the team, and Miles Sanders, who looks like he's going to be an RB, a starter. So I just think logic dictates in Standard, you probably have to go with Miles Sanders there. Hope for the goal line touch too.
Mm-hmm.
Rivers or Garoppolo?
Jesus, probably. I'd go with the rankings on the side on that one.
Rivers is number 11. Jimmy Garoppolo's number 14.
I mean, Garoppolo had a monster in this same game. You know, you're a little bit weary. It just, if you look at everything, look, all we can go is on the information that we have at hand, and so it points to Phillip Rivers having to be more in a shootout mode than a Jimmy Garoppolo.
In a must win here, Byron. Jets or Dallas defense? Thank you as always, Chris. Thank you. Appreciate your tuning in and asking your questions. Give us all a follow on Twitter, Facebook, everywhere.
Yeah, thanks for your loyal support, Chris. I appreciate being on the front line for your fantasy team all year. I would play the Cowboys defense there.
Ewalps in a 16-teamer maniacally, half-point PPR. He's 5 of 5, but he has won 5 of the last 6.
Connor, woo! Hell yeah, Ewalps. Cheers to that, bro.
16 teamer. You don't see a lot of those around either. That's a very respectable.
That's our guy. Ewalps, that's our guy, man. Way to go, brother.
Very respectable there.
Connor busted, but he's looking for an RB and a flex play from Balaj, Mostert, Geis, Kirk. I'm leaning Balaj from workload and Kirk. Yes, last week, Byron, Balaj, 24 touches. Only turned it into 45 yards, but
that's almost hard to do.
I like Mostert a lot this week, too, and I think he's going to play.
He's a good player, isn't he? He's like a really good player.
The first thing you decide is, do you like Mostert or Balaj better? The volume goes to Balaj, and he comes in decent on the sport. I mean, it's hard to argue for Mostert over Balaj, but
other than the fact that, I mean, they are going against a bad defense, and they do like to roll the multiple.
Who, Mostert?
Yeah, I mean, so we were chatting on Twitter about this, and I suggested Balaj, but I've had about a day to think about it, and
man.
I'm starting to lean more on Mostert, man.
So let's put Raheem Mostert in, and then we got to decide between Balaj and Christian Kirk. And so obviously, if Mostert doesn't play, you can pull the plug on that, but it looks like he's going to play. I mean, he's been limited all week. They say they're just in preparation for this week. So let's go with the great matchup, like a 10-point favorites at home with the 49ers. A lot of that points to at least some good garbage time for Mostert. So I'd go Mostert, and then we got to decide between Kirk and Balaj.
Balaj with only a 10-point prop.
I just think you got it as a half-point PPR. I think you got to roll with Kirk, man.
Yeah,
they can move that guy around. I don't think he can be shadowed the entire game by anybody. So they're going to be in catch-up mode. I'm playing Christian Kirk and Raheem Mostert in that game stack and just staying out of that slog of a game. Dolphin.
Stay away from, as we call him, Kalen Garbage.
Kalen Garbage.
Hey, it has all come full circle, though, boys. We knew he'd be important. We just didn't know how or why.
Eddie Elvire. Hey, guys, pick 3 to start out of Curtis Samuel, Tyler Boyd, Miles Sanders, Allen Robinson, and Hollywood Brown. 3.
3.
I would say that's got to probably be the first 3. So
First
Curtis
3.
Samuel, Boyd, and
I mean,
Miles
are we
Sanders.
only so it's 3 out of 4? Is that the question here?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is thanks Eddie for dialing in with the easy question.
And he's got Hollywood Brown as well.
Yeah, and Hollywood Brown. Okay, and also so we're gonna sit Ramsey. So then it's between Boyd, Sanders, and Brown. So I think I might bench Tyler Boyd and play Samuel, Sanders, and Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. There you go. In another league, he's got Tariq Cohen, Diggs, or Allen Robinson. Pick 2. Hate the matchup this week for Diggs.
And Robinson, too.
Yeah.
Well, Cohen,
David Montgomery doesn't go. You've got to be very interested.
But that's the late game. That's the tough part, right? Like, isn't
also
the
another league, Cohen, Diggs, or Allen Robinson? I would have. Well, you look, Allen Robinson and Cohen playing the same game, so you have the luxury to wait on them.
Right, yeah, good point.
I would play Cohen and Diggs, and if somehow Montgomery plays, then maybe you consider pivoting to Robinson. I might play Cohen and Diggs no matter what.
There you go. Teddy Vandermolen, we already answered that question. We picked Baby Chark over Galladay. Sarah Garcia, Who to flex? Brian Hill, Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones, Cortland Sutton, or Curtis Samuel, half-point PPR. And I would assume this is a pick one.
I think it's got to be Brian Hill.
Brian Hill, a nice selection there. Jennifer, our gal here, half-point PPR, starting Ryan, Robert Woods, Mike Evans, C-Mac, Miles Sanders, Cook. On the flex, she has, there it is, catch TMC. See, it's catching on here. I only have Fitz left on the bench because she sat Juju.
Oh, beautiful.
So catch TMC or Fitz. Should she replace Fitz with for catch TMC this week? I don't know that I like that play, especially, consensus agree with Fitz only getting under 10-point prop against San Fran.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I'm just getting a message there. Okay, Ryan, Woods, Evans, Mack, Sanders. This is a hell of a lineup. So first of all, what's the question here, boys? Boil this one down.
TMC
Fitz or Terry McLaurin. Fitz or Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Terry McLaurin. That feels awesome, Jennifer. I like Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, and especially they said, I saw a couple news blurbs saying they're going to move him around the formation. Actually, get him
I like Terry McLaurin.
So good.
I'd say as a wide receiver 3, he feels really nice in your flex this week.
Elias says full-point PPR, Kenyon Drake or John Brown.
I'd play John Brown.
There we go. I got one from the Slack chat.
No,
Byron.
Shane hates that. You want the volume?
I would
Kenyon Drake had a monster.
A lot of dump-off opportunity and full-point PPR.
Oh, man. Kenyon Drake. And dude, I'm playing John Brown. That's a close one.
Yeah, he's had actually a very higher floor than most people thought he would have. I mean, he's been really good all year.
He's a good play and a good matchup.
Yeah, but I didn't think of him as a floor player coming into the season at all. So I got one for him
PPR,
from
you get.
But hold on, let's all just acknowledge the fact that whenever this happens where Shane plants his flag, he goes off for a 4-touchdown monster. So
you're just thinking how many dump offs is Kenyon Drake going to get in this game? I mean, he can get a lot of dump offs in this game.
We're going to go John Brown. Byron said it here. Go ahead.
As an aside, okay, Al. Sorry, just real quick, Al, before. Is David Johnson's career over? Like, is this it?
His whole career.
His back, man. It's been for the last couple of weeks.
You know what? I'm going to pull the plug on that. Let's go with Kenyon Drake. I think I'm with Shane.
Okay.
There we go.
Yes,
I mean, it's two good options, but
close.
Let's just get the starting running back in there. To your point, I don't even know how much Chase Edmonds still hurt. David Johnson might not even get really any touches. So let's go with Drake. I think there.
It's we got another Terry McLaurin question. It's Terry McLaurin in full PPR versus Zach Pascal with Jacoby Brissett back.
Terry McLaurin.
That's easy. Jennifer Sains, by the way, yes, thank you. By the way, thanks for the pickup suggestion of Jared Cook last week. He was good, and Ingram still out, still going strong at 8-2. Jennifer, yes, that's how you flex.
Way to go.
Kip C. In dire straits at RB this week in a PPR league. Howard and Breida are out. Do I go Mostert, Geis, or pick up Gore? Thanks, fellas.
I'm in dire straits at running back this week. Howard and Breida are out. Mostert, guys.
We said earlier Mostert. I mean,
I would go with Mostert. I do think Gore and Geis are viable. I'd rather go with Mostert.
You think he's going to do it, and you just don't know with Geis yet. It's you want to see it first.
Well, look, they're all like the backup running back in their committee today, the guys that you just listed there. So who do we want to go with? I think it's the one with the good matchup and the good game script on the team that has the best running game. And so.
All right, guys. Byron being short on time. I am going to get through these before he takes off here. Go ahead, Says.
I was just going to ask them if you use if you follow like the sports handicapping, if you have a lean on the Eagles plus 4.5 at home, what do you like in that game?
Alan trying to
asking for a friend right now.
It's a weird number.
Probably like the Patriots, man.
Yeah, I mean, it seems too low of a number, but which is always scary to me. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt our start yet.
No worries.
That one.
This question's a little bit easier. If Montgomery goes, you have to play Montgomery, I think, in a standard league. But let's say Montgomery doesn't go. David Johnson or Gerald Everett? In
Probably
standard.
Gerald Everett, right? I mean, how can you play David Johnson right now?
That's so trashy.
Gerald
that
Everett's been
so
awesome.
Trashy.
He's been so good, though. I mean, he's
Well, he's 3 right now, right, in that offense.
You guys know I caught a lot of stuff on Twitter a few weeks ago when I told everybody it was time to pour one out on David Johnson, that those days were numbered. People thought that was
as usual,
ridiculous.
But as I'm saying, when you get the bite back like that, you actually have something. So it was in the consensus.
You touched a nerve, and we're always a little out in front.
Here we go. Okay, we're gonna ramp this up, Byron. Here, I think we're gonna get you out of here.
Le'Veon Bell, and
PPR.
Give me Cortland Sutton. Give me Cortland Sutton.
Cortland Sutton.
Those targets aren't going anywhere else. So.
No.
Yes, Sarah.
Well, Deshaun Hamilton hurt himself in practice too,
and he sucks, man.
Why?
Sarah
one of the trash man's old favorites. No surprises.
Half point PPR. Miles Sanders, Carlos Hyde, or Damian Williams this week.
Oh, geez, Louise. Sarah, you got some great options there. Damian Williams had a little injury news coming in earlier in the week. Have we gotten an update on him?
Well, it was non-injury. It was personal reasons, and he's been missing practice. So they said he should take the flight today. I don't know. What time does that flight depart? Is it going to be before game times today? I don't know.
Well, pop that question back up for me, Matt.
Sure. I got it here.
Okay. Yeah, so, I mean, I think I'm playing Damian Williams if he's making the flight and everything is copacetic there. I might do some last minute research to make sure like LaShawn McCoy's not getting slid back into the picture this week. If I'm just too goosey about that, these are great options. If I'm too goosey about Damian Williams, probably go Miles Sanders. I like Carlos Hyde this week. Probably go Miles Sanders, right?
Miles Sanders right there, Sarah. Take it and flex it.
I got one from Slack. Here you go. It is, where was it? It was, it got the Zach pass. Oh, it's Raheem Mostert or Duke Johnson in PPR.
Mostert.
I go Mostert.
Brett B says he's a pro member for 2 years. He needs 2. Terry McLaurin, Jamison Crowder, Christian Kirk, or Tyler Boyd.
I would play McLaurin and Crowder.
Yep, me too.
Okay, and thank
you
you so
3
much
minutes here for Byron. Let's just power through them.
With an erratic Josh Allen and Askins, John Brown or Scary to play Terry. Also a pro member of RosterWatch Nation and DFS Army.
I think I'm going Scary Terry.
Scary Terry, where are y'all pulling these Vegas stats from? Byron, tell the man. Tell him.
Then we'd have to kill him.
Okay.
RosterWatch.com is where you're pulling them from.
Yes, RosterWatch.com. Get yourself a pro membership. It is the least expensive fantasy content in the industry. Foles was locked onto D.D. Westbrook before the injury. Do you like D.D. this week?
Yeah, I mean...
Or going forward?
I think he's a fine play. I don't have real strong feelings about D.D. this week, but I think if you have to play him, it's not a bad spot for him. Going forward, he's a guy let's keep a pulse on for sure.
Here we go, Byron. Are you ready? Kirk Cousins or Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray.
Garoppolo or Foles?
Garoppolo.
David Johnson, Damian Williams, Joe Mixon, David Montgomery, Darius Guice. Needs 2.
Joe Mixon and hopefully Damian Williams.
If Williams doesn't go, Montgomery doesn't go, it's David Johnson or Guice. Who is it?
Yeah, I'd play Guice over David Johnson at this point.
Guys, thoughts on Montgomery is if he plays, you play him. If he doesn't, you don't. So Ewald sounds good. Sean Melling, my friend here. Morning, fellas. Damian Williams, Hyde, or Ronald Jones?
I mean, it's William. The first order of operations is Damian Williams. If we get scared off that with the late news here, we go to Hyde and we leave Ronald Jones on our bench this week.
Tevin Coleman or Ronald Jones?
Coleman.
Damian Williams or Garbage.
I think that says it all, Damian Lillard.
Tight end to stream in
Damian
PPR.
Williams, even if he misses the flight over Kalen Garbage.
I like Eifert this week. There's reason to be interested in Dwelly, but there's always a tight end that comes in at the top of those damn props off the sports book, and boy, it's you got to kind of throw that to the side at your own risk. And Eric Ebrom's at the very, very top of that list today. So do I want Ebron? Do I want Eifert? To me, this is Ebron or Eifert. You guys got an inkling there?
I'm gonna go off the sports book. That's the idea. When the consensus is tough, you go right into the DFS player props, which is what Beyblade was asking about before, which is one of my absolute favorite parts of being a Nation member is those daily sports bets plays. They come in Saturday night, I believe, or all Saturday.
All day Saturday. The player props are coming in off the sports books, and we compile them on the site right there at RosterWatch.com all day Saturday every week of the season. Really great tool to use. So let's go with Ebron.
Yeah, that was my favorite tool on the whole site is the Vegas tool. I literally take that out and just go through it one by one. That's a really good indicator.
It's helpful in your season long. It's helpful in your DFS. So much of this I've figured out is about your system that you create for yourself. And so I use the tools to create a little system that works for me, and I have a lot of success with that.
What I love, every Wednesday when the matchup tool comes out, you look at the matchups you like, you kind of put together some lineups, and then you go and we look at what do you say when you get agreement between the different tools, and then you match it against the Vegas odds.
Yeah, that feels good. That feels good.
Absolutely.
That's what you guys do on Wednesdays. Wednesdays, I am working my ass off putting that grade cast together.
We live a life of leisure over here. You working stiff.
All right, Byron, let's get you to sign off here. It's our last week of the trade cast on this season here. Any tidbits from the trade cast, if any, if someone didn't catch it this week by chance?
Yeah, after this week, I love Philip Lindsay's schedule the rest of the season. That's a really, really sneaky play. And then let me pull it up. There was another wide receiver that I thought was so darn sneaky too. Give me 1 second here, guys.
I'll give you 1 second, Byron. Also, I'd like to know where you purchased that headset. Can I get me one of those? Or
it's telemarketers.com.
Right.
No, you can get it from anywhere. Let me see here. Air traffic control. I think this is what I'm going to become known for, though. I'm thinking about getting a gold one.
Yeah,
sweet,
sparkly, maybe some tassels.
Just wear it in your personal life.
Here, so there was another receiver. Who was it? It was Philip Lindsay. Here, I got it up. Sorry, guys, y'all were asking here. So Philip Lindsay was the sneaky running back I liked on the trade market the rest of the way. And then on the wide receiver side, it was DJ Chark, actually. We'll have to see how it shapes up with Nick Foles. But DJ Chark, one of these guys, who's got Tampa, Oakland, Atlanta on the horizon. I think if you couldn't get in on some of the elite guys, trading at the last minute here for a guy like Philip Lindsay or DJ Chark has some legs to it rest of the season.
If you're going to go for Chark, I know you got to get out of here, Byron, but if you're going to go for Chark, the play is that D.D. Westbrook has the chemistry with Foles and that DJ Chark might not be the one in the offense anymore. That's how you try to acquire him, I'd say. Yeah,
maybe so. That could be a really sneaky angle, right? There's people that could definitely be fearful of that already. So you have to check it out in your league.
Quickly, Byron, does a hip injury like Tua sustained change his overall value?
Oh, God. Yeah. I mean, that's a tough injury. We'll have to see more about that, but that's, there'll be some team who still takes him on day two, probably. We'll have to just see. If I had to guess, he'd still be probably some kind of day two pick, but boy, all those teams that thought they were tanking for Tua, Joe Burrow's stock just went through the damn roof, man.
Bottoming out for Burrow.
All right, boys, I got a boogie.
All right,
thank you so much for another great week on the Flex Network, okay?
Right,
yes, thank you. That was Byron Lambert from at RosterWatch. Follow at RosterWatch on Twitter. Also, give us a follow at the Flex Network 1. Says, do we have any interest in Gage at all?
From like today, or you talking about like long term in Dynasty?
Well, let's just say I don't know
today.
how the question presented itself. So,
okay.
Do we have interest in him?
Yeah, I mean, I have interest in Justin Gage. He's a rookie. He's been getting some targets. I mean, I wouldn't have much expectation for him on any individual week, but he looks like he has a pulse. Julio Jones, he's the wide receiver 3 on that team. No Austin Hooper. That does give him a better shot. So, yeah, I mean, in a desperation, I would start him. But for Dynasty, he's certainly a player that I wouldn't mind rostering and seeing how the offseason plays out.
Brett B says Curtis Samuel, Kirk, or Boyd. Yes, we answered a lot of this question earlier in the cast. We like Curtis Samuel on the week. Boyd looks to have the higher player props, Shane. Curtis Samuel here, 11.61 over under 53.5 on the DFS Flex Values prop. Tyler Boyd, 60.5 in a better matchup on the week, just by one. I like Tyler Boyd against Oakland. In a better game than last week, hopefully.
I think so. I mean, I like Curtis Samuel, and this week for Christian Kirk, it's just too tough of a matchup against San Fran, right? We just don't know what's going to happen with that. So, yeah, I think Boyd's probably your best bet, especially in the PPR. But hey, man, this is going to be a good little receiver trio that you're going to have for the rest of the season. So. It'll be
and he has that trio because he likely was listening to the Flex Network, because that was the trio. That's the trio I got in every one of my leagues here. I'm the Doc, Chico's Bail Bonds.
Do you know what the reference is there with Chico's Bail Bonds? That's a good team name. That's a really good team name.
Shoot, what off the top of my head now.
It's the Bad News Bears. That's when the manager had to get a sponsor for them, and everyone else was getting like Pepsi and Gatorade. He goes to a Bail Bonds place, and he got them the Bad News Bears sponsored by Chico's Bail Bonds, and it was on the back of their jersey. So
that is sick. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, Byron wanting us to answer the start sits on the site. Yes, we will get to that. Byron, Shane will be on that as soon as we can get out of here. We want Kyle Allen this week over Kyler Murray for sure. Kyle Allen in an incredible matchup, looks good. One of the higher DFS flex values on the week is one DJ Moore for a 16 point. That's a monster to me as far as what Vegas wants. But yeah, says, I mean, is there any way that you're playing Kyler Murray over Kyle Allen this week?
Oh yeah, Kyler Murray's sick, man. He's one of the QBs that I don't think I don't really pay attention to the matchup with him. He's getting it done with his legs. He throws the football accurately, whether he's standing still or on the run. I think there's such a high floor with him that even a bad day, you'll probably get yourself like 16, 17 fantasy points. I know the matchup is good for Kyle Allen, but what's the floor? Like, 10 fantasy points. With a QB like that, I'm not worried about the matchup.
So would you play Kyler? Would you play Kyler?
Yes.
I'd probably roll with Kyler too. He's just
okay. Yes. This is what we do. We flex. Yes. Kyler. Let's go Kyler. B. Ollie needs one. McKissick, Kirk, or Mostert. Geez, that one's
Mostert.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah, I would say, well, that seems to be the consensus around this cast is Mostert's going to get a lot of play, a lot of action. Well, if he doesn't.
He has a knee issue, though. That's the thing that Alex was talking about this morning, that the guy's got a knee problem. So that's why I'm a little dubious on him. But obviously, if he plays, he's presumably healthy, right?
Well, yeah, and that's, I'm learning that a lot this year. If the guys play, they're ready to go. I get it. That they could be pulled out a little bit early in the game just from re-injury. That's the thing that you'd be a little scared of. But if they're ready to go, they're going to go. Let's go Kirk there then. I love Kirk. Kirk also, guys, Richard Sherman, he is a great corner, but even as a Seahawks fan, Richard Sherman can get beat deep. And if, Kirk comes across the line, lines up against a Richard Sherman, chances are he's going to beat him deep. So if Kyler has the chance to get a little bit of space and get Kirk that ball, expect a 60-yard touchdown because it could happen. And book it this week, says. Any more questions from the Slack, says.
Oh, you want me to grab one from Slack? Sure.
Yep. Or Shane from the RosterWatch message boards. Anything?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I got one right here. I was just there and I moved from the page. Okay.
Which message board are you looking on the RosterWatch thing? Because I'm on their site now.
If you just go to the homepage and just click the most recent link, which is our live show right now, there's posts there. So if you scroll down, I've got one by Chief 58, Kyle Allen or Jimmy G. I mean, I like Kyle Allen there.
Oh, okay. I like Kyle Allen. My problem with Jimmy G is he's sneaky, a terrible quarterback.
He's a game manager, right? He's basically Jared Goff.
Jared Goff is still better than Jimmy G. I mean, I just don't like Jimmy G. Jimmy G does not pass. It's not that he doesn't, okay? He definitely does, but he is much better from 0 to 15 than he is from 15 plus. And to me, that's not a quarterback that I really, love to play each week. Kyle Allen, he can toss the ball downfield. Plus, he's willing to, and that's a big one too for me. I like Kyle Allen. Go ahead, keep him coming here.
Yeah, here I got another one here for you. This one's kind of tough. It's more of a strategy question. I need to drop. This is from QB, RB, wide receiver, tight end is his name. I need to drop one for a kicker. Kyler or Carson Wentz?
Ew. You got to drop Kyler. You got to drop Kyler, so? I think. Well, mainly because when you think about the defenses that Kyler's going to be facing, he's got the NFC West. I mean, those defenses are pretty tough. You have another Seahawks. Although the Seahawks can be passed on, I just think, man, you're going up against tough matchups every week.
Yeah, you know what? And sorry to interrupt you, Matt. And also, Kyler Murray's on a bye in week 12.
There you go.
You might be able to get him back. So drop Kyler, hoping that you can get him back in week 12.
Yeah, I answered that one on the site. I had to keep Kyler for the reasons I outlined before. He just looks like a superstar with a super high floor every week. I know that he's on bye next week, but if you're entering the playoffs, that's the QB you're going to want moving into the playoffs. I think he's approaching matchup-proof status.
I guess.
So I wish we had there.
I guess the question becomes: if you drop Wentz. Oh, excuse me. If you drop Wentz, do you have a quarterback to play next week? Right.
Yeah, that's a great question, actually.
So, I mean, if there's a risk there, and then in which case you might be stuck streaming. Because in a vacuum, I'd prefer Kyler for the rest of the season.
No. Look at this though. Eagles are going after the Patriots. Here we go. Matt Schaub put up 450 on the Seahawks defense. So we got the Seahawks. We got the Dolphins. Okay. We got the Giants twice. The Redskins. The toughest matchup out of the next 6 matches after this is the Cowboys. You're talking about playoffs. You know what I mean? Playoffs. You gotta say Carson Wentz.
What if Alshon Jeffrey's hurt? Deshaun Jackson is hurt.
Then give me all the Miles Sanders. Give me all the Miles Sanders and Ertz and Goddard that I can get going down the stretch. The Giants twice. The Dolphins, the Redskins. Okay, come on.
He posted his roster here, so it looks like those are his only 2 quarterbacks at this point.
Dorset or Mike Williams. Dorset or Mike Williams here in
Dorset's
the chat.
in a really good spot.
I like Dorset this week, man.
But Mike Williams, that's such a high over/under against KC.
Yeah, I mean it's a really tough choice he's going to have to make. The case for Philip Dorsett is that the way to beat the Eagles is beat them deep, and who else are they going to throw to deep?
Yep.
Not Sanu, probably not, right?
No, I mean, Sanu's going to get another 14 targets, man.
Sanu is operating as like the quasi tight end. That's because they don't really have a tight end, so that's what Sanu's his role has kind of been, like the over the middle, tough catches.
Well, I listened to Alex last night on SiriusXM and from the Nashua, the Nashua press or something that he had on there, Patriots beat reporter said that today could be a huge James White game.
It could be, last night, that was awesome.
So it just feels to me, I don't, Dorsett, yes, sneaky, not reliable. Mike Williams will be getting targeted. You know what I mean? Keenan Allen, Eckler. That's why I loved our Eckler play from earlier. Eckler out of the backfield, Eckler out of the slot. Give me that all day in an over/under. I'm gonna go Mike Williams, but would we really tell this guy Dorsett over Mike Williams? Even in a sneaky play.
No, you would go Mike Williams, but I'm saying it wouldn't be egregious to go Dorsett.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here.
One last thing. Just put a bow on it. Just real quick. Put a bow on this question on the website here. Instead of dropping Kyler or Wentz, would you drop Alexander Madison instead?
I don't drop Alexander Madison. He's literally the league-winning the bullet you have in your holster.
There you go. All right, boys.
This is the Flex Network. Thank you for tuning in, Ewalps. Thanks. I appreciate all of your support. Follow us, please, at the Flex Network 1. We will be unveiling our giveaway as soon as the video is completed. Go to RosterWatch.com. Get yourselves a pro membership. It's the cheapest industry content out there. Hit the button now, Shane. We will see you next week.
Shane doesn't take that cue well.
Later.